This video is sponsored by Squarespace, an all-in-one platform to build a beautiful website. Get 10% off your first purchase by going to squarespace.com/Pailin's Kitchen. Hey everyone, welcome to Pai's Kitchen. Today I want to share with you a recipe for garlic noodles. And if you're thinking, that sounds really good, let me tell you, it is. It's better than it sounds. It's sort of like the Asian version of garlic bread. It's buttery, it's garlicky, it's satisfying, and it's got that chewy egg noodles in it. So good. Now, I had this dish years ago when I was in San Francisco, and at the time, I didn't know that it was a famous thing that San Francisco was known for. It started out at a seafood restaurant that had it as a side, and it became so popular that other restaurants started copying them, and then people on the internet started copying them. And so recently I was reminded of it, and I discovered that, hey, what do you know? It's famous. So I wanted to share this dish with you because barbecue season is coming up, and it's actually a really good side dish to go with a large amount of meat or seafood. And so, if you have things on the grill or even steam some seafood, this is a great side. So good, in fact, that you may end up just eating the side. Who needs anything else when you've got a bowl of garlic noodles in front of you? All right, let's get started. So let's talk noodles. So for this, you want to use egg noodles, or at the very least, wheat noodles, something that's chewy, okay? So I'm using these, which are pre-cooked egg noodles, and you want to go fat. You want fat noodles for these. I mean, thin will work too, but it's better if it's fat, trust me. And the weight that I'm giving you is the weight of the noodles already cooked. If you're using something that is uncooked, like the fresh noodles that you need to boil, you're gonna need a little bit less. So just check the written recipe for my recommendation for that. If you're using something like this, you may have a bit of a hard time to get it to become unstuck. Plop that out. And what you wanna do is you just kind of like slowly pull them apart, trying your best to not break the noodles. If you break them a little bit, it's okay. The noodles are quite long. I tried once to just dip them in hot water, like give them a quick blanch before I stir fry them. And I found that because these are already cooked, even that like 2-3 second dip in boiling water was too much. Like it made them not as chewy. So I like to not cook these before I put them in the wok. So that's good enough. And then, as you can see, it's really oily. They toss the noodles in oil to prevent them from sticking. I don't want all this oil in my dish, so I'm gonna give this a rinse under cold water just to get most of the oil off. It's probably not good oil for you. It's probably the cheapest oil they could possibly find. That's it. And you can feel right away it's not greasy on your fingers anymore. And I move it out of the colander just because I find that there's some water still trapped in the part where there are no holes. And so this way I make sure they're dry. You don't want a lot of water going into the wok and then steaming them up being soggy. Okay? Now, let's get the sauce. So the garlic, I like to pound it in a mortar and pestle because it's faster, and also it like squeezes out all the garlicky goodness. It gets to be this creamy garlic paste. It's good, but mincing is totally fine. After a couple of smashes, I can peel the skin off easily. Just like that. So easy. And you want a lot of garlic because after all, we're making garlic noodles. You can even put a whole head if you want. Now I'm just gonna pound this into a rough paste. It doesn't need to be liquefied, but just no more large pieces. Okay, yeah, something like that. Something that will distribute well and easily into the noodles. Okay, so now the sauce. I've got a tablespoon of oyster sauce here, and I'm using good quality oyster sauce, something that has oyster extract as the first ingredient. And then to this, I'm gonna add some fish sauce, of course. And this is the trifecta of umami. I'm gonna add Golden Mountain sauce. Now, you can also just use regular soy sauce. You can also use Maggi seasoning. I have done it with both, and I really feel like Golden Mountain is the best, but it's minor. So just use whatever you have. Apart from that, one of the key ingredients is Parmesan cheese. So this is gonna give the noodles a little bit of a creaminess, extra umami, helps to sort of bind everything together so that it's not just like slick, oily noodles. And I'm gonna just finely grate with my microplane here so that the cheese can be distributed more evenly, more easily. If you use a big whole grater, then you just get big chunks. And I'll just save this for my snack so I don't grate myself. And that's it. Let's get cooking. Now, before we start cooking, let me tell you about today's sponsor. Squarespace is a one-stop shop platform for creating a beautiful online presence, whether it's a website, an online store, or a portfolio. You can get your domain, build your website, and host it all in one place. Most importantly, you don't need to know how to code at all. They make it really easy for anyone. My husband actually used Squarespace for his portfolio, and he said that it was user-friendly and the result was beautiful and professional looking. And he is a graphic designer, so he definitely knows what he is talking about. And the best part is my viewers can get a free trial by going to squarespace.com/Pailin'sKitchen. And when you're ready to launch, you can use the offer code Pailin'sKitchen to get 10% off your first website or domain. And I will link to everything in the description below. So I've got a wok here. I'm going to add some butter. I've got my heat on low. Not low enough, apparently. This wok, I'm going to turn it off now because this burner gets really hot. And I'm also going to add a little bit of olive oil, and I do a combination because I find that if you use butter alone, which you can, but once the noodles cool down a little bit, it becomes a little bit gloppy and sticky because butter hardens when it cools. So if this is something you're gonna let sit on the table and it might get to room temperature, adding oil will sort of keep everything supple and lubricated. It's like a little moisturizer. Okay, and then the garlic goes in, and you want to start on low heat because you want the garlic time to slowly infuse into the butter without browning. And you want to have all your ingredients ready because this will go fast. So give this, you want the heat to be low enough that you can do this for like a good 3-4 minutes because you want all that garlic to really soften. It's like garlic simmering in butter. And I use olive oil. You don't have to, you can just use any neutral flavored oil, but I think olive oil flavor works in this. Who loves garlic? Raise your hands. I bet all of you, because otherwise, why are you watching? So it's been about 3 minutes. The garlic looks softened and I can really smell it in the air. I am now going to go in with the noodles. Woohoo! And then I'm going to turn up the heat because now I just dumped a bunch of cold noodles in, so you can really max it out now. And then the sauce goes in. And you'll notice that I didn't add any sugar like I normally do, and I just don't feel like this recipe needs it. Now you want to give it a good toss. Actually, I'm going to use tongs. Much more sensible. And seriously, all you're trying to do at this point is distribute the sauce and heat the noodles up because they're cold. And then you are done. How easy is that? If you're doing this for like a barbecue, you can prep the sauce, the garlic, everything in advance so that on the day you have so little to do. You can even cook all the garlic into the sauce and everything in advance, put it in a little container. Comes the day, you turn on the wok, pour your pre-cooked sauce on, add the noodles, and then you're done. Woohoo! And that's it. How easy is that? I have to say, when I made this at home using a regular glass stove that's not a glass stove. Yes, glass top stove. That's not an inferno like this thing. It does take a little while to get all the noodles heated up. Now, I've turned off the heat. Now I'm going to add my Parmesan cheese. Oh, yes. And I turn off the heat because I don't want the Parmesan cheese to be too hot and then start sizzling and burning, stuck to the pan. I just want it to melt. Oh my God, just look at that. Just look at that. It looks so good. That Parmesan cheese is so important. It just adds that touch of creaminess and just binds the noodles together. So you're not just eating, you know, slippery, oily noodles. Oh, yes. Okay. I don't even need to taste this. I've had this so many times. But if it's your first time, I highly recommend you taste it. So you can add a little bit more sauce if you need to. Maybe it needs a little salt. I'm so excited to eat. It's like the first thing I'm eating all day. Now, I like a little bit of black pepper on top. You don't have to. Oh, yes. It's also a nice visual. And a little greenery if you want. Ooh, yes, some green onions. Green onions make everything look better. Okay, let's be quick about this because I'm hungry. I'm just going to eat it right off of this bowl. Oh, yes. Oh, that smells so good. Wow. Who needs anything else? Just eat a bowl of garlic noodles. Actually, this reminds me. Optional garnish. I think adding a little bit of lemon, like just a quick squeeze of lemon. You don't want this to be sour, but that little bit of acid just kind of cuts the grease, if you will, because it's so buttery. But I think if you're gonna serve it, just have some wedges of lemon on the side that people can sprinkle all over. It really brightens it up and it makes it a little bit less heavy feeling anyway. I mean, let's face it, this is heavy. Oh yeah. Yeah, do the lemon. So good. Garlicky, buttery, and so umami from all the trifecta of brown sauces. And man, the chewiness of the noodles is just perfect. A lot of this also has to do with you choosing the right noodles for this. So whatever you've got available in your store, it may take you a couple of tries to find the one that you really, really like. So go fat and go chewy. That's my recommendation. And that is it. I hope you give this recipe a try. When you make it, send me a photo. You can tag me on Instagram, Twitter, or post it to my Facebook page. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you do so you don't miss an episode. And click the bell icon as well so you get a notification when I post a new video. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time for your next delicious adventure.